I went to San Francisco State University, and believe it or not, I had a very useful major. I was an art and drama major. That and about $1.50 will get you a cup of coffee today. But I was very much into the arts. While I was going to college, I also worked part-time with the San Francisco Parks Department. And one time I was assigned to be a recreation director in North Beach. At that time, North Beach had two very different sets of ethnic groups, the Chinese and the Italians. In this park, the main recreation director was an Italian guy, and the person I was replacing was a Chinese young lady. So when I came, I was to help the girls with their teams, like softball, basketball, things like that. Well, the girls were very resentful because I wasn't Italian and I wasn't Chinese. Of course, I didn't know that, and it wasn't my fault. So one day we had to go to Hunters Point, and those of you who know San Francisco know Hunters Point was a very tough area, a very tough neighborhood. And I take my girls to do a softball game, and we get out there, and the girls are playing, and the team we were playing against were all black and very tough and very threatening to these girls. So when they'd be running around the base, they'd be saying threatening things to them. And at the end of the game, my girls came up to me and they said, "Listen, we have to get out of here because they want to get us." And I said, "Well, quick, there's the bus." And it was the city bus, and the city bus was there at the end of the line. So I said, "Come on, girls," and we all ran over to get into the bus. And as the girls got in and I got in behind them, and I said to the bus driver, "Quick, close the door," because what did I see behind me but this whole gang of girls running to come and get us, to take us down, as you know. And I said to the bus driver, "Quick, close the door." And he didn't quite catch what I was saying. So he didn't close the door fast enough, and all these girls came crashing into this city bus. And I was between my girls and this gang of thugs. So I stood in the middle of the bus aisle, and I held back all of these girls until my girls all ran out of that bus and ran into the next bus. And then I ran into the next bus. And that time the guy closed the door and we were safe. The girls couldn't come get us. Well, after that, the girls really thought I was great. And they were so nice to me. They would bring me gifts, and we had a wonderful rapport. And we would go around the city it was basketball and softball. And the team was pretty good. And I'm talking older girls. These girls were seniors in high school. And they even had cars. So they liked me so much that they started following me around. Now, I worked at night, so I would be the 6 to 11 recreation director there in North Beach at night with lights on. And it was a typical inner city park. It was all concrete, but there was a place to play basketball and softball. And right next to it was the bocce ball courts. Well, I'd come in there, and the girls would be playing, and I'd counsel them, although what they didn't know was that I was only 19. They thought I was much older, and of course I never told them that I just graduated from high school and got this job, and I was in college, so they really didn't know how old I was. But when I'd go to get home, I'd go get in my car, and I'd drive home, and I'd notice there'd be 1 or 2 cars following me. And I'd see in the rearview mirror. Well, these girls, I guess, had nothing better to do, and they would stalk me and they would follow me at different times. And one time it was very humorous. I had a date with someone, and we were going up to Coit Tower, and you know it's a very windy road, and it's very solo. And we roll up to Coit Tower at the top, and it's at the evening, and right behind us comes this other car. And I'll be darned, I look, and it's this 5 or 6 girls in the car, and they're following me around. So it was pretty humorous, but it also was sort of annoying. Well, I won't say there were gangs, but there were rivalries in the high school. So these girls, these Chinese girls and Italian girls, and I'm telling you, that's what they were, either Chinese or Italian. They went to Galileo High School. And there in that high school was another gang of girls who were black. And apparently they would start beating up each other in the bathroom. So one day I had to go over to the school And I was talking with the vice principal, the principal of the girls, and I was explaining to her about this problem, that the girls were being attacked while in school, and, what could we do to alleviate this problem? She was talking to me when she got a phone call. And she hung up the phone and she looked at me and she said, "President Kennedy has been shot." My God, it put everything in perspective. I tell you, the world stopped for so many of us. We remember where we were at that time. So whatever our worries were went right out the window. We were horrified, mesmerized, heartbroken. It was a very scary time. President Kennedy was the one who had inspired me when he said, "Ask not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country." And he started the Peace Corps. When I heard about the Peace Corps, I thought it was the most marvelous program. Imagine being able to go to another country to learn other people's customs and hopefully be able to help them. San Francisco, my friends, we were all very altruistic and wanting to help the world and change the world. So I had just signed up for the Peace Corps when I turned 18 on November 19th, and he was killed shortly after that. So it was really upsetting for me, but it still made me want to go into the Peace Corps. He, of course, died, and the country was in mourning. But I signed up for the Peace Corps, and my life has changed forever from those 2 years in the Peace Corps, which was started by President Kennedy. In 1963, when I signed up for the Peace Corps, it was just beginning, the program was just beginning. It was a very young program, and at that time, the FBI came and looked into your background and checked you out to see whether you would be appropriate to be a Peace Corps volunteer. I was thrilled after I filled out all the papers and was checked out and was waiting to see if they would accept me. If they were to accept me for the Peace Corps, we would have a 3.5 to 4 month training program at the university and learn about the country we were going to and the programs that we were going to be doing. So it was a scary time for me because all I wanted in the whole world was to go into the Peace Corps. Now, I was in college. I had, I think, a 1.5 years of units, but I lived to join this program. When I finally heard that I was accepted, I had to make arrangements with everything that I had. And one thing that I had was a 1949 Chevrolet. And this was when people were going to Mississippi to register voters. So a friend of mine, Peter Leader, I think was his name, I gave him my car, and he painted "Jesus Saves" on the side of the car, and he drove to Mississippi, and they registered voters. So even then, we were very much caring about our country and making it better for everyone. So that was my adios. And then I went into the program in Kansas City, Kansas. I was accepted in the program for Colombia, South America. Now, to be honest, I had to go look on the map and see where the heck Colombia was. I wanted to go to the furthest away country with the most rural situation. And you'll see, as it turned out, I think I got my wish.